You ever trying to take and get into woodworking, but you don't want to pay the stupid like 20-30 bucks for a nice chunk of whatever? So you kind of got to have a table saw, band saw, chop saw, chainsaw, something that you can slab it out once you have it. Or if you've got a lathe and you're just wanting to take and round stuff off, I mean, you could take and you could use a hand saw. It'd be a whole lot of work, but that's what makes you go buy something bigger. But if you live somewhere where there's orchards, all of that right there, I mean, that's probably a good 8 inches in diameter. I mean, make some. So you want to look for rot in the center of these fruit trees, but literally all of this was being ripped out and they were going to burn it at one of the local orchards. And you go pile up some of this stuff for free. I mean, a lot of these orchards where they're just ripping out and burning the trees, you go ask, they'll just let you load it up. You don't, they're not trying to take and get a chunk of money for it. They're not trying to do anything except burn it and get it out of their way. Now that is a chunk of pear. I've got some cherry tree that I have found. Now you do have, like I was saying, you do have to be a little bit conscious with what you're going after, because when they're tearing it out because it's starting to rot. Where's that block that I cut? I don't know, I'm losing my mind. I had a block of it that I had cut all nice and square like, but I don't see it anymore. It's the sun, don't want to stare at that. But okay, so here, let me turn this. So that is a chunk of that pear wood, and you don't see it as much here, but on that block that I had, wherever it got off to, you'll see a whole bunch of color variation running throughout it. Kind of annoys me, where did that go? But I mean, it's free wood. It doesn't cost you anything to take and go bring home, so real cheap, not super easy, but an expensive way of trying to get into something without breaking the bank to go get the very basic materials that you need. So like this right here, I cut that out yesterday. Unfortunately, this bottom part's started to rot, which it was a birch tree that had fallen down. But I mean, get some real cool patterns through there. So this was actually the crotch of two of the branches. I've got one more section I'm going to cut that looks a little bit nicer, so hopefully that's not rotted. But yeah, I mean, go get free wood, get started on what you can, and figure out if you like what you're doing and what you're wanting to do. And then if it's something that holds your interest and you're intrigued by it, go buy the proper stuff you need. And just remember, there's cords and cords and cords of this out there that's literally just going to be burned in another couple of weeks. And I mean, it smells awesome when it burns, so that's a plus, and it's real good for heating your house. But there's so much more that you could do with it than just let it burn. So I mean, might as well make the most of what's free. And another good thing, if you're just looking for 2x4s and stuff like that, look for pallets. So all of these were pallet boards that I'd picked up, and then literally all this right here is just free pallet wood. Well, obviously not the tree, but everything else is obviously just free pallet wood people were getting rid of. And I mean, those are nice thick chunks of wood that I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with them yet, but I'm gonna make something. You don't have to spend a whole bunch right off the bat to get started on something. I mean, keep your eyes open, look for what you can get easily, and once you've figured out if this is in fact something that you want to stick with, then start spending the money on nicer projects. But even a lot of this, you spend the time, cut it down, get it nice and straight, smooth it out. There's a lot of gorgeous wooden pallets and fruit wood that is just going to be thrown away. It's a shame.